you have to look for to get if it's like not at the forefront of your mind. But until I'd seen the documentaries where he'd actually mentioned it, and it got me thinking a lot more. And I was thinking, yeah, okay, I can see some semblances there between the two. But then it's just Robocop is so far like removed from anything Jesus like with his huge gun, Jesus with a gun. I was thinking, and you know, I would today, I'd still reject that idea, even though like those similarities are there. It's just like apples and oranges to me. It's like, okay, yeah, there's a lot of things, there's similarities in the world, but there's still two completely separate things.
Sure. Now, I got to credit Peter Weller here. This is really good acting. And also, you know, the guy that plays Clarence as well. But that scene, Matt, where he's standing on his kind of elbow, and the look of Murphy when he's looking up, he's like, yeah, that's just such a good shot there. He does a good job of portraying like how much, you know, fear he's got when he's just, you know, eyeing up that shotgun and he's going na 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 na, and man, that is frightening as hell. And then bang, he just blasts off his hand with just sort of no remorse. And just the whole laughing, the fact that they find it hilariously funny, it's kind of shocking in a way, Matt, that, you know, what these guys are willing to do here and how far they're going to go. And at this point, you're like, this is going to get a whole lot worse. You know, and then now, you know, you can look at this two ways, and this is completely over the top. And you know, I know there are so many bullets that go into him here. You know, they're taking off his arms, and you know, they're working all over his body. But Matt, this scene it's got to be as harsh as any on a hero kind of character in any film up until this point. Would you say?
Yeah, I mean, it's so brutal, and I couldn't really quite believe it like the first time, and you never get used to it. Even watching it again and again, like just how graphic this is, and the props that they had to construct for this was so like unique at the time as well. Just because something like this had not really been ordered, like where someone's hand had to like pretty much explode off their body, and then his arm is taken from his body. And I didn't even realise, like, I've watched this film so many times, and like the moment when they finally put an end to him and put a bullet through his head, that scene beforehand is like an a robot version of his body, isn't it? It's like automated, and it's just a sort of like wax face, but you can put on expressions of pain and stuff, and you know, that was so well done for the time, because I couldn't really distinguish that between the actor and then, like, of course, they have a whole section at the back of their head where it just explodes off, like, it's designed to do that, and I thought that was incredible for the time.
Yeah. Well, they leave him, they laugh, and they kind of walk away, and of course then we get Lewis kind of coming in, and of course she's realised that, you know, this is a horrific murder, and, you know, she's shocked to pieces in all this, and of course the next few scenes we get after, it's, you know, Murphy's been taken in by a helicopter. At this point, Matt, I'm thinking, how the hell? There's no chance he can survive that, surely. And if he did, what the hell would he be like? You know, but they're still going with it. They're still trying to keep him alive. I'm like, what the hell? This is crazy. But yeah, I mean, I guess paramedics here, they're not giving up, are they? But they shoot this really well. I like the fact that there's some kind of scenes in it where he's having flashbacks. And, you know, he's got reminiscing his child and his wife, and, you know, it's all kind of coming to an end here. I think they do that really well. I like the way they shot it, because, you know, it's really, it's almost like he's got that shocked look on his face the entire time that this is the end. And, of course, you know, they sort of say, you know, it's flatline and, you know, so we just give up type of thing. It's kind of a harsh ending. But one of the things I really like about this film is the fact that it just goes black, Matt. Like, you get that black, and they play about, I mean, I would say about 5 seconds, 6 seconds of just blackness, and then you get that kind of fuzzy stuff coming on. And I love the way they do that. Like, that was really well done. Like, I think you could have gone a different route, and you could have had another scene in there with, I don't know, a bunch of OCP executives or Clarence Boddicker or something else like Lewis, you know, kind of talking about what just happened. But I like the idea, Matt, that they just kind of give you that 6 seconds of black screen, and then all of a sudden there's that fuzziness, and then okay, we kind of know what's happening here because we know it's a Robocop film. We know he's a robot. This is what he's seeing. I like that, Matt, because it kind of shows you that this is all he is by this point. He's just looking. He's got nothing else. And I like the whole stuff where you're seeing these people working on him, and there's all this stuff going on. I talk about the LED screen going in, considering where we are now and locking it in. What did you make of that transition, Matt, into where we go next with the whole transitioning into Robocop at this point?
Yeah, and that's another great vision from the director there. I think originally he wanted 20 seconds of
Right, really? Wow.
Yeah, but the powers to be of the movie got a little bit scared with that, and they were like, no, we can't do that. Then people get up and leave the cinema.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what he wanted. He wanted people to feel like the movie was over, like
right.
the hero is dead, and that is it. But in the end, they just had to go for a lot shorter time with the black screen. But it does its job. I mean, that's what you're supposed to feel like. You're supposed to feel like this is the end. It's over. He's dead. But then, like you said, when they come straight back into it, it's everything seems a little bit more electronic through his vision. Then you're getting a sense of what's in store for us now, and we know like the real kind of movie's about to start.
Sure, I love those scenes where we get Bob Morton and he kind of sees that hand, they get that grip. I love that scene where he's like, oh shit, he's like crunching. He's like, this could break any bone. Your hand bones, and he kind of looks up and he goes straight into the camera and he's like, you're gonna be one bad motherfucker. And you're getting to see this vision of where it's going, but it's so good. I mean, there's like scenes in this where they keep playing his eyes on, and you look like they're celebrating something. I like all of that. Like it seems like it's like there's a funny bit where that woman just completely trips over, doesn't she? After she does that kiss, I find that hilarious. Like just really good, just sort of all round. Just it seems unscripted almost. It seems like they're just going with it. That stuff's kind of really good humour, and then of course they finally kind of give this sort of introduction to him and they sort of unveil him underneath this plastic. But what's important here, Matt, is they don't show the body type. We just see from Robocop's image. Did you like the way they did that, Matt? The fact that we're not seeing what the hell he is at this point, and we're just seeing out of his eyes.
Yeah. I mean, the whole construction of him, and it makes it more horrific in a sense when we're seeing him just like through his own vision, and it's almost like paralysis, like paralysis, where you'd have your senses about yourself, but were able to do nothing about it. And then when they say, lose the arm, just chop it off, just talking to him like he's a thing, like a piece of meat, that they can just butcher how they want.
Sure.
Yeah, but I think it's a really good way of introducing it, like through his own eyes, like that. It's very unique.
Yeah. Now they then bring this guy. He's got like a spots up because OCP own the police. They've got their own spot within the department, and Reed's like, "What the hell's going on?" He's like, "OCP business, mate. Get lost," type of thing. And then this is another good scene. This is another good shot. We first get the glimpse of Robocop, but it's through that glass kind of screen, and you can't quite see him. I like that. I like the anticipation. I think they do that really, really well without seeing him. And then you just get that back of him. So they do a really good job here, Matt, of the build up, just the timing of it, the pacing of it is really well done here. And of course, all the cops within the precinct are like, "What the hell is this thing?" They want to run round and see it. Like, what the fuck is going on? And of course, we get to see him kind of go into his own sort of part in there, and he sits down on the chair, and they're kind of putting the last few bits into him, I guess. I love that part with the food that he's going to eat. It's like baby food. You get that Johnston. He's like, tastes like baby food. And he starts eating it afterwards, like it's a really yummy meal. To all that, and then of course the tracker comes out. And you get those three kind of things, like the directives of what he's about, and of course that fourth one just comes up when they're kind of like looking away and they're all pleased with themselves, you know, and it's of course it's the confidential, it's the you know the one we don't know about, but of course will become so crucial as the film goes on. But you know the whole thing in this, that you know we see that tracking thing through his eyes, and at the time, Matt, I mean that's kind of really original at the time. I don't think too many things had done that. That's well done. They did a whole thing where he's recording things and playing it back, so to speak. I like that as well. I think they do a good job there. What did you make of that scene, Matt, and you know that introduction and sort of the first time we're seeing him in full costume at this point? Because we haven't really spoke about the costume, but that costume, Matt. Let's put it this way: it was not easy to get an actor that would be able to do that and go with that. It was hell. I know that he lost a hell of a lot. I think he lost like 3 pounds every day just wearing that damn thing through water loss and all the rest of it. I mean, that was a hard thing to do. I believe the first thing he ever done, mate, it took 11 hours for him to get all in it and then go out and try and do a scene. I mean, that's some commitment right there, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I loved all these things leading up to this. It's not one of those things that was born about like a complete accident. Like the way we see him bit by bit works so well these days, you know, because it just feels like they're making you wait for it, you know, just to see the spectacle that he is. But it was actually born because they were afraid that if they were to show the death of him and then him straight away in full gear as Robocop, like full on frontal, that people would laugh in the cinema at the spectacle of Robocop. So I kind of feel like that was like, okay, it wouldn't have happened, I don't feel, but it was great that they thought that because of the way we got it presented to us in the end. It made so much more kind of sense, so much more impact on the anticipation. But the suit itself, I'm still impressed with it. I still think it looks really great and quite metallic, even though it really can't beam in metal, not if it's so slow and so weighed down. But it does the job. It looks so real, and it definitely still looks futuristic. I would say it's not far off a design that they might use today. I mean, of course, it's clunky and slow, and they wouldn't use that kind of stuff. But I still think like the aspect of it still having a human kind of form is really good.
Yeah, what's interesting about the scene where he goes out, and of course he's going to go out and do his first sort of line. Now that bit where he catches the key, Matt. I don't know if you read up on that. That took 50 takes for him to catch that because of the rubber that he was wearing at the time. And it just was slipping out every time. It literally took them a whole day to get that right. I mean, that's got to be exhausting. You're trying to do that scene, like how patient you got to be to get that right. But going back to Peter Weller here, I know that he done a lot of miming for this. Like he done a lot of classes for it, and he kind of makes kind of like bird movements. I think that's what they said he was going for, and I think he does an incredible job of mastering it. Like it takes some doing to get it spot on, but I think he really gets that down to a T, and he does an incredible job in that suit. Considering how kind of crazy that whole thing was to wear. The other interesting thing is as well is when we kind of get out of that, we see him in the car. There was also problems. You couldn't wear that suit in the car. He was literally in his underwear, and they just shot the top part of it because that's why you get most of the scenes where you'll just see him getting out of the damn car, because the whole inside the car thing was never going to work. With that suit, which you can kind of see that would be a problem, considering how difficult it just was in general. But Matt, we get the first scene. This is kind of showing him and what he can do here, and he goes and deals with the first guy. He's trying to rob these poor people in this place. What did you make of that scene, Matt? Because it's hilarious to watch now. He's just like, fuck me. He can't believe what's happening here, but it's kind of comical now, like just how he deals with this guy. What's your take on that scene?
Yeah, of course, I love the whole film, and this is just another scene that makes it so great. But just the pure shock on this guy's face is incredible. Just to see how he's dealing with it, he can't quite believe what he's. And of course, you would. I mean, even at this time when it's supposed to be set, you would think, I wouldn't expect someone just to walk in a full-on sort of titanium suit.
Yeah. They